Something feels different about this season of life, not just for you, for almost everyone. The world in 2026 moves faster than the mind was built to handle. There is always something new to respond to, something to fix, someone to become. And somewhere along the way, the pressure quietly shifted from living your life to managing it. So you plan more, prepare more, anticipate more. You run scenarios in your head that haven't happened yet. You replay conversations that are already over. You stay one step ahead of everything and still somehow feel behind. Your jaw is tight. Your shoulders haven't fully dropped in weeks. You lie awake not because anything terrible is happening, but because the mind refuses to stop reaching for control over things it was never meant to hold. This is not a character flaw. This is exhaustion wearing the mask of responsibility. Buddhist wisdom offers a quieter truth. Peace does not come from mastering the flow of life. It comes from becoming part of it again. You were never meant to hold everything together. You were only ever meant to be here. So this is an invitation, not to give up, not to stop caring, but to unclench just a little, to loosen the grip, to return to the person you were before the world convinced you that control was the same thing as safety. Let's begin. Lesson 1. The river doesn't need your help. There is a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. You know the kind. You wake up already carrying something, a decision not yet made, a relationship not quite settled, a future that refuses to take the shape you need it to take. And so the mind starts early, planning, pushing, trying to get ahead of whatever might go wrong. From the outside it looks like diligence, like someone who cares, like someone who is responsible. But from the inside, it feels like standing waist deep in a river, pushing the water with your bare hands, exhausting, futile, and quietly humiliating because the water doesn't even notice you. This is the suffering the Buddha pointed to, not the suffering of hardship, but the suffering of resistance, the gap between how life is moving and how we demand it should move. A river does not ask your permission. It does not slow down because you are not ready. It does not change course because you have a plan. It simply flows around rocks, through valleys, into seasons you did not choose. And when you try to redirect it with sheer force of will, it doesn't stop. You just end up exhausted on the shore, convinced that something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You were simply confusing effort with force. And they are not the same thing. Effort is calm. It is rooted in the present moment. It says, here is what I can do today, and I will do it with full attention. Effort moves like a skilled paddler working with the current, not against it. There is still movement, still intention, but underneath there is a quality of ease, a groundedness that doesn't depend on the outcome. Force is different. Force is effort wrapped in fear. It says, if I don't make this happen, everything will fall apart. Force rushes, it grips, it checks and rechecks. It fills Sunday evenings with dread about Monday mornings, and no matter how much it produces, it never quite feels like enough, because it was never really about the task. It was about controlling the anxiety beneath the task. You can feel the difference in your body. Effort breathes. Force holds its breath. Effort moves forward. Force braces. Effort trusts the next step. Force needs to see the whole staircase before it will take one. The Buddha spoke often of natural rhythm. Life, like the seasons, has its own timing. There are seasons for planting and seasons for harvest, seasons of visibility and seasons of quiet underground growth. Wisdom does not mean forcing spring to arrive before winter is finished. It means learning to recognize which season you are actually in and working with it rather than against it. So much of the pushing in our lives comes from being in a winter season while demanding summer results, from being in a period of necessary stillness while punishing ourselves for not moving faster. Try this gently. The next time you feel the body tighten around something, a project, a relationship, a question without an answer, pause, take one breath, and ask yourself honestly, am I making an effort right now, or am I forcing? If you are forcing, you don't need to push harder. You need to soften, not because the work doesn't matter, it does, but because the river is already moving. And the most powerful thing you can do is learn how to flow with it, rather than spend your life exhausted on its shore. What is truly meant for you will not require you to break yourself to reach it. Trust the current, do your part, and then allow. Lesson 2. Letting go is not loss, it is clarity. There is a story people tell themselves about letting go, that it means giving up, that it means the thing no longer mattered, that somewhere between the holding and the releasing, something precious is lost forever. So they hold tighter. Not because holding is working, but because letting go feels like admitting defeat, like opening your hands and watching everything you worked for simply disappear. This is one of the most painful misunderstandings in a human life. And it keeps people suffering long after the suffering was ever necessary. In Buddhism, there is a simple image that cuts through all of it. Imagine holding a glass of water, not a heavy glass, an ordinary one, the kind you carry without thinking. Now imagine holding it for 1 hour, 2 hours, an entire day. The glass has not changed. The water has not changed. The weight is exactly the same as when you first picked it up, but your arm is on fire. This is what the mind does with its concerns, with its unresolved grief, its unanswered questions, its carefully stored resentments. The weight of these things is real. No one is saying otherwise. But it is the grip, the continuous, unconscious tightening around them that creates the ache, not the thing itself. You were never suffering from the glass. You were suffering from the refusal to set it down. Letting go does not erase what happened. It does not mean the loss was small, or the disappointment undeserved, or the heartbreak something you should have recovered from faster. Letting go simply means you stop carrying the full weight of it in every single moment of every single day. It means you allow the glass to rest. And here is what so many people discover when they finally do, when they soften the grip, just slightly, not dramatically, just a little, they find something unexpected waiting in that space. Clarity. Not the loud clarity of a sudden revelation. The quiet clarity of a mind that is no longer so busy holding on. The kind of clarity that lets you see a situation without the distortion of fear, that lets you hear someone without filtering their words through old wounds. That lets you make a decision from wisdom rather than from the exhausted urgency of someone who has been clenching for years. The Buddha taught that attachment is not love. Attachment is fear wearing the face of love. When we grip something, a person, an outcome, an identity, a version of the future we have decided must come true, we are not honoring it. We are slowly strangling it, and ourselves in the process. True care is open-handed. It says, I want this, I will show up for this, and I will release my demand that it obey my exact vision of how it should unfold. This is not passivity. This is the deepest form of trust. When you loosen your grip on how things must go, something subtle shifts. The mind stops being an obstacle to your own life. Solutions you could not see before because you were too busy defending a fixed position begin to surface naturally. Paths that were always there become visible. People, timing, circumstances start to align in ways that forcing never could have arranged. Life does not respond well to demands. It responds to presence. So try this gently. Think of something you have been holding tightly. A worry, a hope, a hurt that never quite healed. Don't try to release it dramatically. Simply notice the grip. Feel where it lives in your body, the chest, the jaw, the stomach. And take one breath that is slightly softer than the last. You are not giving anything up. You are only setting the glass down for a moment. And in that moment, your hands become free again. Free to receive, free to act, free to touch the life that is actually here, not the one the mind has been fighting to control. Clarity does not come from gripping harder. It arrives quietly the moment you finally allow yourself to let go. Lesson 3. Bowing to impermanence. There is something the mind does when something good arrives. It quietly begins trying to keep it. The joy of a new relationship. The relief after a long struggle finally resolves. The warmth of a season in life when everything feels, for once, like enough. The mind notices these moments and immediately, almost without your awareness, it starts building walls around them, holding them in place, rehearsing the fear of their ending before the ending has even thought about arriving. And then, when things change as they always do, the suffering is not only about the loss, it is about the argument. This should not have changed. This was not supposed to end. I was not ready. The Buddha called this anicca, impermanence, not as a warning, not as something to fear or prepare against, but as the most fundamental truth of existence, as natural and as neutral as breathing itself. Everything is temporary, not just the painful things, not just the things you are hoping will pass. Everything, moods, seasons, health, relationships, the version of yourself you are most attached to right now, the feeling you woke up with this morning, the certainty you were holding yesterday that has already quietly softened into doubt. All of it moves, all of it changes, all of it eventually dissolves back into something new. And the mind almost universally fights this, not because change is inherently terrible, but because we were never taught to bow to it. We were taught to resist it, to prevent it, to treat any unwanted shift as a problem to be solved rather than a truth to be honored. So we exhaust ourselves. We renovate relationships that need to be released. We stay loyal to identities we have genuinely outgrown. We pour enormous energy into preserving versions of ourselves, our lives, our circumstances that were always from the very beginning temporary visitors. The suffering is not in the change. The suffering is in the argument with the change, the extra layer that arrives when the mind says, "This should not have happened." That word "should" is where so much human pain quietly lives, not in reality. In the gap between reality and the reality we insisted upon instead. Here is what becomes possible when you soften your resistance to impermanence, even slightly. You stop being surprised by change. And without that surprise, the shock of loss loses some of its sharpest edges. You still grieve, you still feel, but underneath the feeling, there is a steadiness, a recognition that this too belongs to the natural order of things. And then something even more beautiful begins to happen. Impermanence stops feeling like a thief. It starts feeling like the very source of meaning. Think about it honestly. If nothing ever changed, there would be no healing. The wound from 3 years ago would never close. The version of you that was lost and frightened would have no path forward. The dark season you survived would have no ending. Without impermanence, there is no becoming. Without change, growth is simply not possible. Every flower you have ever found beautiful was beautiful because it would not last. Every conversation that mattered more because it was finite. Every moment of grace and warmth and unexpected connection carried its particular weight precisely because it was not permanent. Impermanence does not steal meaning from life. It is the very thing that gives life meaning. So try this gentle practice. When something shifts, a plan falling through, a feeling changing, a chapter quietly closing instead of the familiar tightening, try whispering something softer to yourself. Of course, everything changes, not to dismiss what you feel, not to rush past the grief, but to place it inside something larger, to remind yourself that you are not failing by being unable to hold things still. You were simply never meant to. Bow to impermanence, not in defeat, in wisdom, and notice how the world, released from the demand that it stay the same, becomes strangely more beautiful for exactly what it is. Lesson 4. Listen to the body's truth. The mind is a gifted storyteller. It can build an entire future out of nothing. It can reconstruct a conversation from 3 years ago with perfect, painful detail. It can convince you that a feeling you had this morning is proof of something permanent about your life. The body cannot do any of this. The body only knows now, and that is exactly why it is the most honest thing you have. Long before the mind assembles its explanations, before the worry finds its narrative, before the anxiety locates its reason, the body has already registered the truth. The jaw tightens, the shoulders rise slowly, quietly, until they are almost touching your ears. The breath becomes shallow, the stomach contracts around something unnamed, the hands close into a softness that is almost, but not quite, a fist. Control does not begin as a thought. It begins here, in the body, as sensation, as a physical bracing against a world that feels, in this moment, slightly too unpredictable to be safe. Most people do not notice this. They are too busy listening to the story the mind has constructed around the tension. They engage with the content, the problem, the plan, the person who said the wrong thing without ever pausing to notice that underneath all of it, the body is simply frightened and asking, in the only language it has, for someone to come home. The Buddha placed the body at the very center of his teaching on awareness, not because the body is more important than the mind, but because the body cannot lie. The mind can rationalize. It can reframe, defend, distract, and perform. The body simply responds to what is true. When you learn to listen to it, really listen, not just as a check-in, but as a genuine act of return, something shifts. You stop being managed by tension you cannot name. You start catching the contraction before it becomes a spiral. You find again and again that freedom does not begin with solving the problem. It begins with noticing where the problem lives inside you. Try this right now, gently. Without changing anything, simply notice your body as it is in this moment. Is your jaw loose, or is there holding there? Are your shoulders somewhere near your ears? Is your breath moving freely, or has it become small and careful without you realizing? Do not try to fix anything yet. Just notice. This noticing, this quiet, non-judgmental witnessing of what is actually happening in your own body is already a form of freedom, because you cannot soften what you have not yet seen. Now, when you are ready, take one breath that is slightly fuller than the last. Not a dramatic breath, not a performance of relaxation, just one breath with a little more room in it. And as you exhale, allow the shoulders to drop. Allow the jaw to unclench. Allow the hands to open. Nothing in your life has changed. The uncertainty is still there. The unresolved situation is exactly where you left it. And yet something is different. There is a little more space, a little less pressure. The nervous system, receiving the signal of a slower breath, begins slowly, gradually to understand that right now, in this moment, you are safe. This is the doorway the breath opens, not to escape, but to presence. Not to bypass what is difficult, but to meet it from a place of groundedness rather than contraction. The Buddha called this returning. Again and again, in whatever form the wandering takes, the practice is simply to return to the breath, to the body, to the only moment that is ever actually real. The mind will wander, the stories will rebuild themselves, the tension will return, and each time it does, you return too, not with frustration, not with the demand that you should have stayed present longer, just with a breath, just with a softening, just with the quiet, patient act of coming home to yourself, one exhale at a time. The body has been waiting for you to listen. It has something important to say. Lesson 5. Separate what is yours from what is not. At some point today, you carried something that was never yours to carry. Maybe it was someone's disappointment, the mood that entered the room before they even spoke, and somehow, without a word being exchanged, became your responsibility to fix. Maybe it was a comment left unfinished, an expression that flickered across someone's face, and your mind spent the next 3 hours quietly building a case for what it meant. Maybe it was an outcome you prepared for carefully, executed honestly, and then watched unfold in a direction you never intended. And the mind, faithful to its old habits, turned inward. What did I miss? What should I have done differently? Why wasn't it enough? This is one of the quietest forms of suffering. Not dramatic, not loud, just a slow, steady accumulation of weight that was never labeled with your name, and yet somehow found its way into your hands anyway. The inner world becomes crowded like this, not all at once, gradually, one borrowed worry at a time. Buddhist wisdom draws a clear and compassionate line here. You are responsible for your intentions, for your actions, for the quality of presence you bring to a moment, and the honesty with which you show up. This belongs to you entirely. Tend to it with care, but the way someone receives your words, that is not yours. The timing of an outcome you have done everything right to invite, not yours. The mood another person woke up with, the history they carry, the invisible architecture of their inner life that shapes how they respond to you, not yours. Trying to control these things is not diligence, it is not love, it is not even kindness. It is simply exhausting, like trying to hold the wind still with open palms. The wind does not notice, and your hands grow tired of a task they were never built for. There is a Stoic insight that runs parallel to Buddhist teaching here, and it is this: your suffering multiplies precisely in the space between what is yours and what is not, when the boundary between the two becomes invisible, when you can no longer feel where your genuine responsibility ends and the anxious borrowing begins. So the practice is simple, not easy, but simple. Each day, not in a moment of crisis, but as a quiet morning question or an evening settling, ask yourself honestly, what is truly mine to touch right now? Not what worries you, not what you wish you could change, not the outcomes you are monitoring from a distance with a tightness in your chest, but what is genuinely, practically yours to act on in this moment. Notice what arises when you ask this. Usually the list is shorter than the mind believes. There is something real you can do, a conversation to have, a choice to make, an action to take with full presence. And then there is everything else. The invisible causes, the other people's timelines, the universe's particular sense of when things are ready to arrive. That second category, put it down, not carelessly, not with indifference, but with the clear-eyed recognition that carrying it is not helping anyone, least of all you. The people you love are not more protected because you are anxious on their behalf. The outcomes you want are not more likely because you have spent the night rehearsing their failure. You are not the author of everything that unfolds around you. You are the author of how you meet it. That is enough. That has always been enough. Tend your own garden with full attention and genuine care. Let the weather be the weather. Let other people carry what belongs to them, trusting that they have more capacity than your worry gives them credit for. And each time the mind reaches for something that was never yours, gently, without judgment, simply return. Return to what is actually here. Return to what is genuinely yours to touch. Begin there. Lesson 6. Releasing the outgrown identity. Somewhere along the way, you became someone very specific, the responsible one, the strong one, the person who holds it together when everyone else cannot, the achiever who does not stop, the caretaker who gives without asking, the one who is always fine, always capable, always steady, regardless of what is actually happening underneath. These identities did not arrive randomly. They were earned. They were learned. At some point in your history, being this person kept you safe. It brought love, or approval, or at least the absence of rejection, and so the mind, faithful and protective, filed it away. This is who I am. This is what I must continue to be. And for a long time, it worked, until it didn't. There comes a moment, quiet, almost embarrassingly undramatic, when you realize the role no longer fits. Not because you failed it, but because you have grown past it. The identity that once protected you has become a cage, so familiar, you stopped noticing the bars. You feel it as a low, persistent exhaustion. Not the tiredness of doing too much, though that is often present too, but the deeper tiredness of performing a version of yourself that no longer feels entirely true, of answering to a name that belongs to who you were, not who you are becoming. Buddhism offers something both unsettling and deeply liberating here. The teaching of anatta non-self suggests that the self is not a fixed object. It is not a solid, unchanging thing that must be protected and preserved at all costs. It is a process, a movement, a river, always shifting, always responding, always becoming something slightly different from what it was a moment ago. You are not meant to be the same person indefinitely. You were never meant to freeze yourself in place. The mind resists this. It has invested so much in the current identity, so much effort in building it, defending it, making sure others recognize it, that the thought of releasing it feels like annihilation. If I am not the strong one, who am I? If I am not the achiever, what is left? But this fear, as uncomfortable as it is, carries important news. Fear at the threshold of change is not a warning to retreat. It is a signal that you are standing at the edge of something larger than your current self can fully see. The discomfort is not proof that changing is wrong. It is proof that the change is real, that something genuinely new is asking to be born. Growth always feels like loss from the inside, because something is being lost, the old skin, the old story, the old version of you that served its purpose and is now ready to be honored and released. You are allowed to change without explanation, without a committee's approval, without making sure everyone around you is comfortable with who you are becoming. You are allowed to put down the role, not abandoning the people who love you, not walking away from your responsibilities, but gently, honestly, stopping the performance of a self that no longer reflects what is true inside you. Ask yourself with real kindness, who do I keep being out of habit rather than genuine aliveness? Which role do you continue to play not because it is true, but because it is familiar, because you are afraid of the space that releasing it would create? That space is not emptiness. It is room. Room for the version of you that has been quietly waiting, patient, unhurried, knowing that eventually you would grow tired enough of the performance to finally ask what lies beneath it. You are not the role you learned to play. You are the one who played it, and you are allowed at any moment to set it down and return to something more honest, more alive, more entirely your own. Lesson 7. Be a lamp unto yourself. There is a moment near the end of the Buddha's life that has always stayed close to me. His students gathered around him, frightened. Their teacher was leaving, the one who had answered their deepest questions, who had shown them the path through the darkness, who had been the steady lamp in a world that felt unpredictably dark. He was going, and they did not know how they would find their way without him. He looked at them with complete compassion, and he said something that changed everything. Be a lamp unto yourself, not find another teacher, not hold tighter to my words, not look outward for someone who will tell you what to do next. Be your own light. Trust what lives inside you. The refuge you have been searching for has always been here. Most of us spend years quietly, unconsciously, outsourcing our stability to the world. We wait for the relationship to confirm that we are lovable. We wait for the achievement to confirm that we are enough. We wait for the approval, the recognition, the particular arrangement of circumstances that will finally give us permission to feel okay. And on the days when those things arrive, we do feel okay. For a while, until the next uncertainty appears, until someone's opinion shifts, until life rearranges itself, as it always does, into a shape we did not request, and the permission so briefly granted quietly disappears. This is the suffering of borrowed stability. It is real comfort, but it has no roots. The moment the external source moves, the peace moves with it. Inner peace is different, not because it is invulnerable to difficulty, but because it does not depend on difficulty being absent. It is a quality of relationship with your own experience, a willingness to be present with what is here, without immediately reaching outside yourself to make it more bearable. Part of coming home to yourself is learning to sit with questions that do not yet have answers. The mind finds this unbearable. It wants resolution. It wants to know how the situation will resolve, when the uncertainty will lift, what the right decision is, whether things will be okay. And when the answers do not arrive on schedule, it treats the silence as a problem to be solved, rather than a space to be trusted. But clarity does not emerge from pressure. It emerges from peace. Think of murky water. The harder you stir it searching for the bottom, the less you can see. But when you become still, genuinely, patiently still, the sediment slowly settles on its own, and without any effort at all, the water clears. Your own insight works the same way. The answers you have been demanding are not hiding from you. They are simply waiting for the noise to quiet enough that they can surface. Every time you return to your breath, every time you soften the grip, every time you choose presence over the anxious reaching, you are creating the conditions for your own wisdom to be heard. You already carry this, not as a potential to be developed someday, but as something present and available right now, underneath the habit of control. Everything you were searching for, the steadiness, the clarity, the sense of being genuinely okay regardless of how the world is moving it, has always lived here. Inside this breath, inside this body, inside the awareness that has been quietly watching all along, untouched by every storm the mind has passed through. You do not need more answers before you are allowed to feel grounded. You do not need the world to arrange itself correctly before you are allowed to feel at peace. You only need to stop looking outward long enough to notice what has always been here. Unclench, soften, return. The lamp was never missing. You were only standing too far from your own light to feel its warmth. Come home. Conclusion. Walking lightly into 2026, you do not need to have mastered any of this. Mastery was never the point. The practice of returning to the breath, to the body, to the present moment, to yourself, is not something you complete. It is something you choose. Again and again, on the easy days and the difficult ones, when the grip loosens naturally, and when it tightens without warning. Mindfulness is not a state of perfect stillness. It is not the absence of wandering. It is the quiet, patient act of noticing when you have drifted from presence, from honesty, from your own center, and coming back, without punishment, without the demand that you should have stayed longer, just returning, just beginning again. This is the whole practice, and it is enough. 7 lessons. 7 gentle invitations to loosen what was never meant to be held so tightly. The river that does not need forcing. The glass you are allowed to set down. The impermanence you can finally stop arguing with. The body that has been speaking truth while the mind told stories. The boundary between what is yours and what belongs to the world. The identity you have permission to outgrow. The lamp that was always lit inside you. None of these are things to achieve. They are things to remember, again and again, as many times as life asks you to forget. May you walk into 2026 with open hands rather than clenched fists. May you trust the river more than you fear it. May you find, in the ordinary moments of an ordinary day, the quiet that was always here. May you return to yourself gently, fully, without apology. this too belongs. Before you go, I'd love to know, which of these 7 lessons met you exactly where you are right now? Which one felt less like new information and more like something you already knew, somewhere deep down but needed to hear again? Leave it in the comments below. Your reflection might be the thing someone else needed to read today. And if this kind of wisdom feels like home to you, subscribe and stay close. Every week, more teachings, more stillness, more gentle ways to navigate a world that moves faster than the heart was built for. Thank you for being here, truly.